Hello and welcome. I'm Mirai, and this week we're going to learn how much I realistically read in a week. Normally I feel like I read about an hour of physical books a day, and then I kind of listen to audiobooks throughout the day, like on my drives and while I'm walking my dog and doing chores. So my audiobook listening time could like drive up my reading time a ton. I think most of the books I read end up being audiobooks. So we'll just have to see this week how much I actually read physically versus how much I listen to on my audiobooks. I've always estimated my reading pace at about a page a minute, but I think it partially depends on like what book I'm reading. Obviously I'm gonna read like a romance a lot faster than I read like a high fantasy. We'll just have to see. Now, I'm recording this on Saturday, but I'm actually going to start my reading week off on Friday because I want to be done recording by early next Saturday. So that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so yesterday, my reading time for yesterday might be a little fudged. More of an estimate than like an exact science. So I read about 114 pages yesterday of like a Kindle book, so like physical reading, and it took me about 2 hours. So slightly less than a page a minute, but close enough, so I'm gonna take it. And I've been reading Stalking Jack the Ripper. Most of my Kindle books that I've been reading lately have been off Libby. So the inspiration for me reading Stalking Jack the Ripper is truly just it's what came up on Libby. I'm not a mood reader anymore. I am a Libby reader. Whatever Libby tells me to read, I will read. But I've heard good things about Stalking Jack the Ripper. I don't know if everyone loves it, but I've heard good things, so I decided to pick it up. And it's okay. It's okay so far. I'm not like, I always say this, but I'm not like connected, to the characters or the story yet. But maybe I'll get there. It's like fun. It's good, but it's not my favorite. And then I also listened to an hour of The Foxwife, which is the audiobook I've been listening to. And kind of the same thing. I also am not connected to the characters in that book, but it's like in a very different way. Like I feel like Stalking Jack the Ripper is much more, I don't know, like YA feeling. It's just kind of like a lighthearted, easygoing story. Like it's an easy read. It's an easier read, and then The Foxwife is like in depth into like it's kind of like magical fox lifestyles. They're foxes, but they like appear as humans sometimes. They can like easily influence people and then like drive people crazy. But, foxes. Both are kind of feeling like 3 stars right now. It's unfortunate, but that is life. I'm expecting to get a lot of reading done this weekend. Usually I feel like I read the most on Saturday and Sunday because it's when I'm not working. But I do also like do a lot of chores on the weekend. So it kind of like depends on how long it's taking me to do my chores, like what chores I'm doing, and if I'm actually deciding to hang out with people. Because I do that sometimes. I do hang out with people on occasion. I will check in with you tomorrow, most likely, on how much I've read today. And we'll see how the week goes. Okay? Okay. So on Saturday, I ended up reading 120 pages, about 2 hours and 15 minutes total. So a little less than a page a minute. I didn't listen to my audiobook at all, And I was just reading Stalking Jack the Ripper, which you'd kind of think, like, it's not that intense of a book. Like, I feel like it should be more on pace with a page a minute, but maybe I'm not as fast a reader as I thought. I'm not as connected to the characters as I was expecting to be. Like, I kind of thought I would enjoy it a lot more than I am, which is disappointing, but it just happened. So I read 120 pages total, and this was mainly like I read like an hour in the morning and like an hour in the evening. I ended up being pretty busy yesterday. I didn't read as much as I was expecting to read. I ended up going grocery shopping, and then instead of coming back home and like working out, my friend got a flat tire and it should have just been like a quick maybe 30 minutes to help her fix it. It took us like 2 hours. I don't think it was us. It was definitely her car. Her car was like messed up. I've never seen a tire so flat in my life. It was like torn in half and like rusted onto her car. We're like jumping on her tire trying to get it off. It was a whole mess. But yeah, that took 2 hours, and then made dinner and a friend came over. Did a lot. So only read for 2 hours and 15 minutes, which maybe it is a decent amount with how much I did, but so I have a bunch of chores that I need to do today, but like nothing, I don't have anything planned, so theoretically I should be able to read a decent amount, and we'll see if that ends up being true, or if someone else gets a flat tire, but I will check back in with you tomorrow or the next day. Harvey's just staring at me with puppy dog eyes, asking to get on the bed. There he goes. I was telling him to come up here and he wasn't coming. Dogs. Children. Am I right? It is Monday now, and I have officially finished Stalking Jack the Ripper. Good, but not my favorite. Kind of meh. 3 stars overall. So on Sunday, I had 75 pages left of Stalking Jack the Ripper. Did that bright and early, and then I read 142 pages of Under Your Spell, which is a soon-to-be released romantic comedy. If you're looking for a rom-com, check it out. Now, I read 142 pages of this, and in total, my physical reading time was an hour for Stalking Jack the Ripper, better than a page a minute. I might have been just ready to be done, I guess. And then I guess I read this super slowly because I wrote 2 hours and 50 minutes for Under Your Spell. But I only read 142 pages. I was annotating, so maybe that's it. I feel like it takes a little longer when you're annotating because, you gotta giggle a bit and then find your tabs, stick it in, highlight. That's what we're gonna say. I spent a lot of time annotating. And then for my audiobook, I listened to 30% of my audiobook, which based off my calculations, because I just went off of like how much is 30% of the book, and I did listen to it on like 1.5 speed. Anyways, based on my calculations, it was 3 hours of audiobook listening. But I did do a lot of chores yesterday. So, I like made my bed, did some laundry, took the dog out a couple times. It was a really nice day. It was like 70 degrees. It is spring. But like it was snowing like 2 weeks ago. Like it snowed a lot. Surprising to have good weather for once. I am doing a separate reading vlog for like Goodreads giveaways that I've won. This one I won off the Goodreads giveaway, and so I will go more in depth on this in a separate vlog. But stay tuned for that. It is a Wednesday, and I ended up finishing Under Your Spell last night, and oh my goodness, it was so good. If you're looking for a romantic comedy, or if you really like romance, I highly recommend picking it up. I had so much fun reading it. I feel like usually, or not usually, but like a lot of times when I pick up popular romance books, there's something about it that like it's just a big miss for me. And this one, there was like nothing. There's not really anything I can say that I didn't like. The storyline was good. It wasn't like a repeated, it was a little more unique of a backstory. Yeah, it was just good. I will talk more about it in my reading Goodreads giveaways videos. That's not what we're here for. We're here for how much have I been reading? And so I'm going to give that to you. But do pick this up if you want a good romantic comedy. It comes out in end of June. I need to update you on Monday and Tuesday. So Monday I read 104 pages of Under Your Spell, which took me an hour and 40 minutes. Wait. Oh, no. No, I just couldn't math for a second there. 104 pages, an hour and 40 minutes. That is like right on target. Maybe a little faster. A little faster than our expected 1 page a minute guess. So good, on target. And then I only listened to like 5% of my audiobook, so really it was truly just during my drive to and from work. And that was like 32 minutes in total. My drive really isn't that long, so. And that was still The Foxwife that I was listening to. Okay, now, Tuesday, I finished Under Your Spell, and that was the last 90 pages or so that I read. That was good. I already said my piece. You should read it. And then I read like the first like 1-2 chapters of The Adventures of Amina al-Sirafi. It was 14 pages. I know, a lot. Really got into this, but yeah. So in total of my physical books, I read an hour and 30 minutes. And then I listened to 11% of The Foxwife, which with the math translates to an hour and 10 minutes about. And that is still going okay. It's fine. Nothing crazy. I will check in with you probably Friday because Thursdays tend to be like my busier evening, so I'll see you later. Hello, hello. It is Friday, which means we have one more check-in after this. And I have an update on my reading progress for Wednesday and Thursday. I got 14 pages into this on Tuesday, and on Wednesday I read 124 pages of The Adventures of Amina al-Sarafi. There we go. That's better. I feel like the first 60 pages of it were kind of slow for me. It was more like building the story, like building up, she gets this request to find her old crewmate's daughter, like a little bit of backstory, and it just felt slower. But once she starts like gathering her crewmate and like getting her ship and like actually kind of starts to go on the adventure, even though this is kind of like still the prep phase, but once she actually starts doing that, I feel like it got a lot more interesting and I felt a lot more into it. Yeah, so I read 124 pages on Wednesday, and that was about 2 hours and 15 minutes, so a little slower than normal, but as I said, the first 60 pages were kind of a slower read for me. And then I listened to like 12% of my audiobook, The Foxwife, which was an hour and 12 minutes. So 2 hours, 15 minutes physical time reading, 1 hour, 12 minutes of audio time reading. Like 3.5 hours total. But the audio time is like, that's while I'm doing other stuff. I feel like I keep repeating the same thing. I'm like a broken record, but because 3.5 hours feels like a lot when I'm working 8-9 hours during the day. And I've also, I got Chick-fil-A on Tuesday, I got Domino's on Wednesday, so the cooking has been minimal. I made steak yesterday, so that was a little fancier. And yesterday, I didn't read quite as much. I read 57 pages in this, and then I read 5 pages of this short this book was just available to review for free. So I downloaded it and I'm like slowly reading it. I read like 5 pages. I'm only like 12 pages in. But it is The Sunstone and the Hybrid Prince. And I've been reading this like while watching TV, so maybe that's not like the best way to review a book, but it's just what I've been doing. It's actually like pretty good so far. Don't let my like minimal progress fool you. It's actually like kind of good. Yeah, so I read 5 pages of that and 57 pages in this, which was about an hour and 12 minutes total. So again, a little slower. I think the Adventures of Amina al-Sarafi in general, I just am reading slower. So, I mean, the pages are decently big and they have a decent number of words on them, so. It's also, like, not a lighthearted romance. Like, I mean, I was reading this a lot faster, but this is a rom-com. It's just the nature of reading a rom-com. You naturally read it faster. And then on Thursday, I listened to 22% of The Foxwife. I finished The Foxwife. I still, like, wasn't super into it. I gave 3 stars overall. It was interesting. I liked the foxes. I like kind of like the magic behind them. And, you know, we have like a detective character, and he was pretty cool, and there's kind of like a little like childhood love story, and they get reunited, and it's cute. But I just like wasn't super connected or like connected to the characters or the story, so I might have enjoyed it better if I read it physically. But yeah, but I finished The Foxwife, gave it 3 stars, and I've started reading Finley Donovan is Killing It. I feel like I've seen people really enjoy this, so, and I got it through, this one is Cloud Library, and it just, the hold came up, so I decided to listen to it. I listened to about an hour of that on Thursday. So in total, audio, I listened to 3 hours and 12 minutes. Physically, I read 1 hour and 12 minutes. See you tomorrow for our last check-in. We have reached the end of the video. It is Saturday morning. I really should have just ended it yesterday because I didn't really read anything yesterday. I listened to my audiobook a bunch. I listened to it for like 2 hours and 8 minutes. I'm like basically exactly 50% of the way through Finley Donovan is Killing It. I also listened to like an hour or so today as well. That's the end. My Friday reading time is 2 hours and 8 minutes. Let's recap. Give me a second. I am going to calculate all these up. So in total this week, I have physically read 845 pages, which is crazy. I've almost read 1,000 pages in a week, and that's like physically reading. Like if we include like what my audiobook page number would translate to, that would be like definitely like way over 1,000. Because I listened to like one whole audiobook as well as 50%, almost 50% of Finley Donovan is Killing It. So 845 pages in the week. So about like 120 pages a day. Or if we include the fact that I didn't read yesterday, it's about 105, 106 pages. At the beginning of the video, I guessed that I read like 100 pages of physical books a day. And that is like very much so accurate. So I read like 100 pages a day, and I listen to, let me calculate all my listening hours. So I listen to about 13.6 hours over the whole week, which translates to about 1.7 hours a day. So on average, I like read for an hour and 40 minutes a day, and I also listen to audiobooks for an hour and 40 minutes a day. It's like exactly the same. At least in like time-wise. I read for 14.75 hours. So when I did like the pages I read divided by the hours I read, I got like 57 pages. It does come to, I read about 1 page a minute on average. And of course, when I'm reading romance, it goes faster, and like rom-coms. And when I'm reading like in-depth, complicated fantasy books, I read slower. That is what I realistically read in a week. And to recap all the books we've read this week, I finished Stalking Jack the Ripper on the Kindle. I finished Under Your Spell. And then with audiobooks, I finished The Foxwife, and I got like 50% through Finley Donovan is Killing It. And then I also got, I'm so close to 50% of the way through The Adventures of Amina al-Sarafi. Let me know down below what you guys read this week and if you would recommend it. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!